we're really excited about kicking off this Community Forestry Corps program and getting the chance to share all of this amazing work that our partners and community have been doing to really prop up this pilot this year. And so just to introduce myself a little bit, and of course I have some welcome remarks, but I get the pleasure of being today's MC. My name is Samira Malone. I am the Director of Urban Forestry Initiatives for the Center for Regenerative Solutions, which is one of the key strategic partners in this development of the Community Forestry Corps program. And so we're really excited, and as we were thinking about preparing this event, we wanted to leave some space for reflection, right? And so as many of you all participated in, we had these series of 3 prompts that we put together for you all to reflect and think about your relationship with trees, your relationship with heat, and the impact that natural assets has on our quality of life and environment. And so I would love to welcome the opportunity for a little bit of audience engagement for folks to maybe call out and reflect upon some of the things that they shared up here on the prompt. And if you didn't have the opportunity to respond to the prompt questions, please feel free to share. And the 3 prompt questions include: how does heat affect your neighborhood? Why are natural assets, parks, trees, air, soil, et cetera, important to your neighborhood? And describe a tree that has been significant in your life. And just as a quick reflection, I am a kid who loved the great outdoors, and I had a mom who fostered my love of the great outdoors. So trees have always kind of been one of those things that I've had such a great relationship with. I remember as a kid, I would always ride my bike all the time, and I would always, you know, kids go without hands free on their bike, which is extremely dangerous, but I would always look up into the treetops and be amazed at how something could be so massive. And as I got older and I got into this work, having a great realization of the actual quantified benefits that it provides our community, it makes it that much more rewarding. It is such a pleasure to see all of you all here today as we are here joining in celebration as the kickoff of our Community Forestry Corps program. So the CFC, thank you. Over the last year, CRS, in our critical partnership with the City of Cleveland, Student Conservation Association, Kappa Strategies, and most importantly, the residents and organizers of the Buckeye neighborhood, have worked steadfast for the development of the Community Forestry Corps Cleveland pilot. And I believe it will help and support and catalyze the decades of grassroots work and organizing that's been happening in this neighborhood around natural assets and the environment for quite some time. The CFC is a youth workforce development and forestry capacity building initiative that has the goal of about 4 functions, but it means so much more than this as well. The goal of the program is delivering immediate and tangible value to historically and systemically disinvested communities, maximizing the significant public investments in urban forestry to ensure the equitable and sustained urban canopy growth, improving our understanding of where to plant trees, particularly in underserved, undershaded, and experiencing high heat communities, and most importantly, how we're providing our youth, the future environmental stewards of our world, with meaningful and impactful opportunities for work in this climate justice work. I have the pleasure of being today's MC. So I'm very excited. I'm also very loquacious, so I had to prepare notes because brevity is not my strong suit. And today we have a wonderful agenda that highlights these very partners that make this work possible and recognize the wonderful crew of young people here who will be carrying out the day-to-day work of this program over the next 6 weeks. It is our pleasure to have you all here with us in this celebratory moment. And I want to take a special moment to thank all of the residential participants that participated in this program. One of the most exciting parts of this particular Cleveland pilot, thank you. One of the most exciting parts of this Cleveland pilot is that we were able to work really close in community with residents to identify the very nodal places in the community where folks saw as an opportunity for impact, also as areas that were experiencing high heat hazard. So we hosted a series of workshops, and thank you so much to Ms. Tony and to Julian who helped to connect us with those residents. You guys have really been the life force of this project. And we were able to connect with residents to do an exercise exercise around identifying locations in the neighborhood where we would be doing this heat data map collection. And not only did it stop there, right? Because when we think about engagement, oftentimes we think about it just through the lens of talking to community, but folks have immediate needs right now. So what we were also able to do is pay residents to go out and survey these locations that the students would then be deployed to work on all summer long. So because of the steadfast organizing and convening of our residents, we were able to not only provide this benefit to them through this work of the crews, but we were also directly able to provide them compensation for their value and expertise about their community. So I say all that to say, I'm very proud of this project, and I'm very excited to see all of these wonderful familiar faces, and excited for you all to learn more about all of the wonderful and intentional work that went into getting this propped up. So I'm gonna welcome up Brett to give a little bit of context about the national program, but thank you.
Thank you, Samira. I think you all know what a remarkable set of assets the community of Cleveland has. One of them is Samira Malone, and she was previously the director of the Cleveland Tree Coalition, and we are so grateful to have her joining our national team. Welcome to the mayor. I'm glad to have you here. Welcome to the Under Secretary Wilkes. So glad to have you here as well. There's been a lot of discussion, and I think Samira framed this issue, that we know that our living environments are not equitably distributed, that in many of our communities, we do not have adequate coverage from the blistering heat. We do not have adequate ground cover to absorb flood moisture. We do not have adequate biodiversity to create healthy ecosystems. We need to create more equitable distribution of these critical living infrastructures. So there's been a lot of talk about the importance of planting more trees. We do need to plant more trees. We especially need to plant more trees in these communities that are undershaded. And then there's this term that's called tree equity, as if somehow I just go and I plant a tree in that community and somehow I've solved my equity problem. But in fact, actually, when we plant a tree in a community, we've actually imposed a liability, because it's not going to be able to provide any of those services that we want for it for several generations, for decades anyway. So how are we going to get that tree from now to then? That's where we think the equity opportunity exists. Because that's a piece of work that needs to be done. That's a piece of care and stewardship that needs to be effected. That's the kind of work that our young people are ready to do. But are we giving them that opportunity? Generally, no. In fact, worst case, we just go out and plant trees and walk away and say, well, good luck, Mother Nature, that's fine now. But no, it's not. We need to care for these things that we're putting into the ground, because they, just like us, need that care. And we believe that young people can be a part of providing that critical service. And that's the first step of providing that equity, especially if we distribute that opportunity into the communities that are most at risk and on the front lines. So I want to first and foremost, and the most important reason that I flew here from Boulder today, I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself, Brett Kincairn. I'm with the city of Boulder, but I also have the privilege of being the director of the Center for Regenerative Solutions, so I get to work locally on our nature-based solutions, and I also get to work nationally. And part of the reason I wanted to come here today was because I wanted to deliver greetings and thanks from our community forestry crew, which launched 4 weeks ago, to your community forestry crew. So could we just have Kyra and Nasreen and Elijah and Chloe and Kate all stand up for a second and just give them a round of thanks. Thank you. Thank you for, and Cammie, thank you. And you all didn't see this, but our team sent chocolate to them, so I'm sorry I couldn't share it with all of you, but we got really good chocolate here in Boulder, and so we sent that. And I hope that we get a chance to actually create a connection between your team and our team and the team in Chicago, because there's another team that launched in Chicago this week, and the team in Boise, because there was another team that launched in Boise this week. And what I'm really, really delighted to stand up here and be able to say today for the first time is that because of the USDA's leadership through the Forest Service, we are now going to support 12 more community forestry crews for the next 3 years across the country. And I want you who are the first generation of this work in Cleveland to be the leaders of this work from this point onward. I hope that you're back next year as the leaders for those teams, and I hope that you expand this work in Cleveland, because I also hope, Mayor Bibb, that Cleveland continues to be the leader in this space. It was your leadership as a community that actually gave us the inspiration to get this started. Now, I have to say, my community started it first. But we're right there with you. My mayor is with you. Chicago's mayor is with you. I want to see mayors across the country get on board this effort that you have helped to lead. So thank you all very much. I really am so delighted. I'm so grateful to our young people for stepping forward with the courage to do this work. With that, I'd like to introduce the mayor of Cleveland, Mayor Bibb.
Well, we picked the perfect day to have this event, didn't we? First, I want to just acknowledge Councilwoman Deborah Gray, who's here. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you so much for your support, Councilwoman. I'm excited today, but because we have the next generation of young people that are going to be inspired to really address environmental justice all across our city. And I want to tell you why that's important, because when you ask young people what are the biggest issues facing our nation, one of the biggest issues they talk about is the need for our country to address both climate and environmental justice. So give the young people here today a big round of applause if we can as well too. And I'm excited to collect some data, because as the old saying goes, you can't manage what you can't measure. And we as a city need a data-driven approach to address this critical issue. We all recognize why this issue is so important. Having a robust tree canopy makes our cities safer, because the data tells us that in cities and neighborhoods where there's a lack of a robust tree canopy, you have higher rates of violent crime, higher rates of heart disease, higher rates of asthma. And so the work we're doing today is not just about climate change and environmental justice, but this is about racial justice, economic justice, and making sure that the promise of our neighborhoods can be real for everybody who lives in the great city of Cleveland. And this work that we're kicking off today would not be possible without an amazing group of local partners who makes this work critical every single day. From, I see Kim in the room, from the Environmental Health Watch. Love you, Kim. Glad you're here today. Neighborhood Connections, Riddle and Youth Opportunities Unlimited. Key Bank, my former employers in the room. Hi, Chanel, good to see you. And also, we have some great national partners here as well, too. The Center for Regenerative Solutions and the Student Conservation Association as well. And I have a special role here today as the chair of climate mayors, because now 4 cities across the country are kicking off pilot programs all modeled after this great work. So let's give all the other 4 cities a big round of applause as well, too. Now, someone may have beat me to the punch, but Cleveland got some money today because of the great work of our administration, from the Biden-Harris administration. We have the USDA Under Secretary here, Under Secretary Wilkes. And today they announced a $3.4 million investment in this work right here in Northeast Ohio. So federal, state, local, all working together, and Cleveland's going to lead the way. So again, congrats. Let's get to work. And I think I have the privilege to introduce the Undersecretary now. Is that correct? Undersecretary, the floor is yours.
You know, I was just sharing that, first of all, I brought these notes because my staff took time to develop them, but you'll see that I won't use them, but Amanda can tell them I did have it. Let me just say this right here. I'm from Mississippi, very proud to be from Mississippi, but I'm also very proud to be at this event today, because I have this philosophy: we should celebrate what we want to see more of. Think about what we have in here today. And normally when I get up and hear a good sermon like this, Mayor, I just sit down, you know? You know, you should just say amen and go sit down. But I would be remiss if I don't make a few comments. I'll start by saying thank you, Mayor. I really do appreciate the opportunity that has been afforded me to come and participate in this celebration. A great celebration. It really is. You know, the city of Cleveland, Mayor, I'm here to tell you, I'm impressed. I rode around a little bit and I said, wow, maybe I could come here. And they tell me living expenses aren't too bad, so who knows? When I leave Washington, D.C., I may be looking for a place. So I will say that. You know, and I want to say that the leadership that's been provided here is very obvious. I had a chance to go out to the Ridall Center today, and I mean, it's just amazing, this partnership and what has taken place and folks working together. And I said, you all didn't just prepare this for me. This has been going on for a while, so it's good to be able to invest, you know, in situations like that. And I want to say, on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration, we are really intentional about making sure that underserved communities, not served communities, communities that just don't have anything, that you participate in this program. It's intentional. It's intentional we do this. We can go on, but we know you hear about Justice 40. Okay, Justice 40, and say 40% of the federal funds should go in communities like this. But I'm very proud to say that this administration, under the leadership of Chief Ward and myself, is not Justice 40, it's Justice 100. 100% of the funds have gone to underserved communities. I make no bones about it, okay? And the reason is that we need to catch up. We talked about, and I'm going to close quickly because we talked about the tree canopy and the equity and things of that nature that's taking place here. It's hot here today, but I left Mississippi on yesterday morning. It was 115 degrees there, the heat index. I got to Baltimore, Maryland on yesterday evening. It was 95 degrees. So when I got to Cleveland on last night at 87 degrees, I said, my goodness, it's cool. So you all, thank you for the weather. But more importantly, that we need this tree canopy in order to do that. As you've heard, heat, extreme heat is so important to our communities. People are dying from it. And, you know, you talk about these things. Temperatures can actually go anywhere from 11 to 15 to 18% degrees lower with a tree canopy. I told you early on, I grew up in Mississippi and I farmed, grew up on a farm. And about lunchtime, we was gonna try to find the first tree we possibly could because that heat index would reduce about 15 degrees. That's important. Folks, can you imagine utility bills and things of that nature that go down if you had a tree canopy? That's why it's so important. You look at the bus stops out there. When people are sitting there waiting on those buses, and let's face it, who's catching those buses? Folks in the inner cities. So Mayor, we have to work with you and your boards and things of that nature. Councilwoman, we need to make sure we can plant those trees for those bus stops. I know you have to worry about the cities and the streets and things of that nature, but we need to find a way in order to get that done. I'm glad you're here, so you can help us with those things. Really, I think that's important. You know, we just need to afford those opportunities for folks out there that haven't had those chances. Now, the Mayor talked about partnership. Folks, that's so very, very important here. And I see evidence of that. You have all the community leaders out there working. You have all the groups that's coming together here. And I mean, Mayor, I'm looking at the city, you know what? Looks pretty good out here to me because this is what I want to see more of. We have a combination of black folks, white folks, red folks, and all folks working together. Think about that. Folks, this doesn't happen in every place you are. So there's an inclusiveness that's taking place here that I'm very, very proud, you know, to be a part of. And I would be remiss if I did not do a shout out to your U.S. Senator. Senator Brown, guys, really, I'm here to tell you. He has been a true spokesman for this endeavor. As a matter of fact, you know, we sent this state somewhere in the neighborhood about $30 million throughout the state of Ohio. And Ohio is a very big state. The senator called me and said, that's not enough. He wanted money to come directly to this particular city here, to Cleveland. And the mayor announced about the $3.4 million. That's a direct correlation based on the input and impact that I got from your U.S. Senator. So when you see him, say thank you. Really, you need to do that because he was very instrumental in making that happen. We talk about the 4 cities that's been kicked off here. Folks, it's so very important. And most important, one of the most important, we have to talk about sustainability. That youth corps, I mean, we should take our hats off to those folks because I'm getting old. I'm going to sit down one day, and I'm glad to see we have a future generation that's going to take over this work. So, folks, thank you all for the work that's taking place. And young folks, I'll pass the baton to you whenever you're ready because what I saw and what I've seen today, it tells me that you all are ready to take the baton and run with it because you're concerned about the environment that's out there. You're very concerned about it, and that's important. We have to have those young folks that's coming on board to make those things happen. That's critical. So when you see a young person, just encourage them to go forth and do good. We'll just baton up and get out of their way, but be there to support them and tell them and give them some guidance, because we all had that. So that's very, very important that we do those type of things. So as I said early on, and I remiss that the Biden-Harris administration actually, through Bill, through IRA, $1.5 billion went into this particular program, the Urban Community Forest Program. This program went from some 30 million to 1.5 billion, but it's under those leadership, those senators and those congressional members that supported Bill and IRA. Now, $1.5 billion seemed like a lot of money. And folks, it is in the grand scheme of things, because we went from 30 million to 1.5 billion, but there was a need. And what had taken place is that we had some 852 applicants, and the amount of money that was subscribed was about $6.5 billion. We only got 1.5, so that tells you there's a great need. But just think what would happen. Just think what would happen if we could get that type of sustainability over the next 4 years. You get $1.5 billion. Think about the impact it would have on your communities. So folks, that's where we need to be on those particular things right there. I'm not lobbying, but you have the opportunity to tell your congressional members that, okay, it's important that we keep this fund sustainable. And Mayor, and I'm sure you'll pass that word on there and some of the other folks that's out there. But it's the community leaders that's going to have to articulate that and amplify the importance of these funding. Because look at the communities we serve, look at the community we protected, and this tree canopy, it's a real deal, folks. It's a real deal. I'm going to close by saying thank you again. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this great event, because it's awesome to see this type of activity take place. So on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration, we're truly trying to invest in America. We're trying to make sure that folks who haven't had an opportunity to feed at this federal trough get that opportunity. And I'm very proud of what's taking place in the urban community forest. As I said, we're not talking about Justice 40, we're talking about Justice 100. 100% of those funds actually in the community that look like this. Thank you again for this opportunity. Really looking forward to it. And it's just been a great experience here in Cleveland. Thank you.
Thank you, Undersecretary. Thank you, Mayor, for your national and local leadership. I'm Matt Gray, Senior VP of Program at Student Conservation Association, SCA. I'm just happy to be here. I see a lot of friends, a lot of old friends, a lot of partners. So just so thrilled to be here, and really just super excited about SCA, like building our roots more and more in Cleveland. We got 4 teams going this summer and the fall. We know there's more demand. We know there's more need, so we're here for the long haul. So just want to be a great partner in the community. Brett recognized our youth team earlier. We also have another team here, our young adult urban forestry team. If you guys could stand up and just be recognized real quick. So this is much more on the workforce development front. They're in for 6 months doing all sorts of urban forestry work around the whole region. They're getting their certs, credentials. They're going to be ready to get hired. See, a lot of partners are here to hire, so they'll be writing in about 6 months to get that full-time job. So SCA, real quick, we've been around a long time, 67 years, founded by Liz Putnam, age 22, wrote her thesis, essentially which led to the creation of SCA. It was all about, we need to love, at that time the parks were being loved to death. And she says, well, we need to fix that. We need to maintain these properties, and we need to transform lives in the process. And that's still our core today. Do conservation, do climate work, and transform young people's lives. I'm one of those lives. I did SCA when I was 17. Grew up in Cleveland Heights, a couple miles away. Never went camping. Just wanted to get out of the house, honestly. Get away from my parents for a summer. And I saw SCA and did a 5-week crew. Changed my life, completely changed my life. Led some crews 4 years later in Pittsburgh and beyond. Our crew leaders, quick shout out if you're there. Thank you, stand up real quick, real again. One of the hardest jobs there is as a former leader. Thank you for your service. So real quick, so other thanks, partners. I know we run programs across the country to go from good to great. You need great partners, and we have that here in Cleveland. We got obviously the Forest Service. There's the term cooperative agreement. We have one with the Forest Service. It's not always cooperative, I'll just say, but it is with the Forest Service. This has been an amazing process. Jonathan Lampley, our main guy, he's out there somewhere. He's been an amazing partner there. He's in the back. We got Western Reserve Land Conservancy. I saw Matt Zone. There he is. Obviously, City of Cleveland, Davy Tree. Joe Gregory around here somewhere. We have a couple interns with Davy Tree, getting that work experience in the city. Staff, real quick. Where are you? We got Joanna Lemon. She's our partnership manager at SCA, so get to know her. Abby Brokaw from DC. She helps run our city programs across the country. Illyria Little, she's our community program manager in Cleveland. And finally, Sydney right next to her, who just joined a month ago and has just hit the ground completely running. Just last, again, final thanks to our leaders and members. We know how big of an experience this is. We know how great it can be and how hard it can be. So you got a team. You got a team here to support you during those rough days, because I know they're coming. So just know that. And I'll kick it over to one of our key partners. Would not be possible if they did not help support this as well. Chanel Wiggum Smith. Smith Wiggum, wow. I get that backwards from KeyBank.
Thank you, appreciate it. Well, I'm gonna try and be quick here because I'm pretty sure the mayor and my boss are nervous about me talking with a City of Cleveland podium in front of me. But I do have prepared remarks, but I'm gonna go off script here for a minute because this brings my heart so much joy as someone who has been in the environmental justice trenches here in Cleveland with so many of you, and for us to come together and support the young people in our community to not only lead, but also have workforce development opportunities. I grew up in a community, not here in Cleveland, don't hold it against me, but I grew up in a community near a petrochemical plant in Near Park that had severe impact on me and my life and led me to having cancer twice before I was 30. And so I know what it means when a zip code can have an impact on your life, when the lack of environmental access can have on your life, and what it means for these young people to be out in their own community, planting trees, but also building community. And so I'll go to my prepared remarks, but I had to get that off of my heart real quick. I'm really delighted to be here as both a proud board member of Student Conservation Association and a representative of KeyBank. Our commitment to supporting the next generation of environmental stewards is unwavering, and I'm thrilled to be here with my good friend, Mayor Bibb, community partners, leaders, to really kick off the Community Forestry Corps. This program is not just about planting trees. It's about the lives of the young people. It's about the lives of the people in this neighborhood. It's about investing in our young people and our community's future. Through meaningful summer job opportunities, we are providing students with money, we need money, hands-on experience in conservation work, fostering deep connection with each other and also the natural environment, and building valuable skills for their careers. KeyBank is proud to support this initiative and also the initiative in Pittsburgh, had to say that. Recognizing the environmental resilience and community resilience go hand in hand. By empowering our youth to take an active role in conservation, we are ensuring a greener and more sustainable future for Cleveland. Thank you all for joining us for this endeavor. Thank you for leading this endeavor. And together we can build and make a lasting impact on our environment and our community. And Brent, you might as well just move to Cleveland. Like, I'm sorry, it's, you know, you've been coming back, just move. All right, thank you everyone.
All right, everyone. So now we get to the fun part of the agenda. We get a chance to go out and get some direct on-the-ground workshopping with the students. So we have a really exciting exercise prepared for everyone. Everyone is going to get a chance to participate in a heat mapping exercise. So we have 2 stationary sensors set up here on campus at Zelma George, one that's proximate to a parking lot and then one that's more in a more forested area. So we're going to have folks break into 2 groups, and then we are going to have our crew members actually with their crew leads participate in a leadership exercise on how to do the heat data collection and what tools and software they'll be using over the summer to do so. So I am going to stop things here so we can all come together, break into groups, and then go into our exercise. Thank you so much.